I think I'm on pace to finish the greatest trilogy of all time. I just finished Mistborn, The Well of Ascension. I've got my notebook here. I've got a lot to talk about. So I'm thinking, let's go through, let's talk about some of my thoughts, and then I'll talk about what I got right, what I got wrong, and I'll go into the theories that I have for the final book, The Hero of Ages. Starting off, I thought the concept for this book was very interesting. Even from the preface, Brandon Sanderson talked about how he wanted this to be the original book because he thought it was so interesting to write about what happens after a revolution, what happens after you conquer evil. And I thought that was such an interesting concept. I thought the politicking got a little slow, but I have no shade towards it because I thought the whole concept in of itself was incredibly interesting. I liked watching Elend learn how to rule and watch that shift over time as he started ruling. I do fear going into this final book that we're gonna see a little bit of a villain arc from him where he rules a little bit like the Lord Ruler, especially after becoming Mistborn, but I think it'll end up okay. Going into it, RIP to all the soldiers, RIP to Doxson, to Clubs, to Tindwyl, loved all of them. I unfortunately knew some of them were gonna have to go. There were too many people in there. There had to be the Sanderson land. I thought for sure Breeze was a goner, but here he is. I loved all of his little personal insights. I love seeing inside of the misunderstood character. I don't know how to feel about him and the girl. I'm just kind of gonna stay away from that for now. Straff Venture, holy cow. That man is crazy. He was such a good villain, he was crazy. One of my favorite things in this book was how they kept teasing his unaliving. I kept thinking it was coming. There was the poison, there was all of these different things, and then in the end, it was just Vin jumping up and just landing through his entire body. I will say, I am glad that Zane was only there for one book. I didn't do too much more of the toxic love triangle going on. To me, Elend was too pure, too good of a guy. I needed him left alone. I needed him to just be happy with Vin. So I'm glad Zane was gone, but he was very, very interesting. More on that when we get into my theories. And wow, trying to find the spy the whole time, I was convinced it was gonna be some random house servant or something that we had seen in the shadows. Tensoon pulled the wool over my eyes. I never even guessed once at all, a millisecond, ever, at all, anything that Tensoon could have been taking over Orsur and using him as the spy. That was crazy. Honestly, that was the biggest plot twist of the entire book for me. I loved all the stuff with the well at the end, but I felt like I knew Elend had to stay alive, so I wasn't too worried when he got sliced open. I did think Sazed was potentially a goner at the very end there when Marsh